Minister, thank you for being here tonight in this important debate. I'd also like to welcome the members of Monaghan County Council. As you know, they've been very much to the forefront in leading the charge on this particular issue and debate. And I'd like to put on the record tonight my total objection to this proposed development in its current form of overhead power lines. In my constituency of Monaghan and Cavan and our neighbours in Meath who want this project undergrounded, 2,500 homes have the potential of being impacted in a negative way by the proposed overhead line. Do their concerns deserve to be listened to? Well, yes, they do. And poor consultation has led to today's debate during the planning process of the North South Interconnector, and it's time to put the wrongs of the past right and take the sour taste of this project, which has been left in the mouths of the people of Cavan Monaghan, away, and please do not railroad this through. I would like at this point to state that I accept the need for a North South Interconnector, but to clearly and vehemently disagree with both the scale of the proposal and the choice of overhead transmission lines instead of underground cables. I have been informed from parliamentary questions, and you know yourself and myself have been here debating this in the chamber already, in relation to Brexit and the impact that it will have perhaps on the North South Interconnector, and I have been informed that it will have no impact. Well, Minister, to be fair, it is unfair to say that the implications of Brexit will have no effect, because truthfully and honestly, we do not and have not realised the full impact that Brexit will have on the south of Ireland. And no one knows what's in store for our country, and so therefore I would ask you again to be prudent, to put all state funding for the capital phase of this project on hold, and to remind them that despite receiving the green light from An Bord Pleanála in the south, the development of the project depends on the outcome of the public inquiry in Northern Ireland, which is scheduled for this month. EirGrid has agreed that undergrounding is indeed feasible and reliable, and it is on that premises that I urge the Government to reject the application in its current status. It could be argued that the money spent to date and on blunders in planning and opposition to this project could have gone a long way to paying for the undergrounding option. The people of my constituency have many concerns, none of which have been addressed adequately by EirGrid, to give them peace of mind. Therefore, the application does not have the basic principle in place of public acceptance and therefore cannot go ahead in its current form. The people of Monaghan and Cavan have only been offered lip service. And when you look at the stringent consultation protocols of the project being tested in the north of Ireland, well, we deserve the same here. Early last year, I sat at the An Bord Pleanála oral hearings in the Newmore Hotel in Carrickmacross for hours, and there were people sat for days on end, and heard at first hand the feelings and the logical reasons why people in those areas do not want this project to go ahead. In fact, it's not an understatement to say how distraught the landowners are for health, devaluation of land, the impact on livelihoods, the destruction of heritage, flora, fauna, and the detrimental impact on tourism. Last month we attended the meeting in Kells, County Meath, and it's not an overstatement to say there was hundreds there. Monaghan Anti-Pylon Group, the North East Pylon Campaign have been to the forefront and have given you a very, very clear presentation, as my colleague has presented here today, on why this should not go ahead. Thank you.
Now calling Minister Naughten.
Thank you. First of all, can I move Amendment 1 to delete the words after Dáil and substitute the following. Note the benefits of the North South Interconnector will bring to electricity consumers across the island of Ireland through lower prices as a result of more efficient operation of the single electricity market and increased security of electricity supply, and the importance of Ireland's close relationship with the energy sector with Northern Ireland and the UK and the European Union, and the UK's government continued support of the single electricity market against the backdrop of the UK decision to exit the European Union, and calls on the government to take account of the concerns of the communities of Cavan, Meath and Monaghan, and to publish an independent analysis of international developments in relation to the relative cost differences, technologies and engineering solutions of overhead and underground technologies fully integrated in an all-island electricity system, and be cognisant of same. This proposed North-South Interconnector is a new 138-kilometre high-capacity electricity interconnector along the overhead lines between the transmission networks of Ireland and Northern Ireland. On the 21st of December last, An Bord Pleanála granted planning permission for the interconnector in Ireland, with a number of conditions attached. The decision concluded a lengthy process, which included an oral hearing completed over 11 weeks, from March to May of last year. The planning process in Northern Ireland is still ongoing, with the planning inquiry due to commence on the 22nd of February of this year. The proposed interconnector is a vital piece of infrastructure for ensuring a safe and sustainable source of energy for both Ireland and Northern Ireland. It is expected it will deliver significant benefits to electricity consumers across the island of Ireland through lower prices as a result of more efficient operation of the single electricity market. Any further delays to the development of the project will increase security of supply risk to Northern Ireland in the first instance, but also to both Ireland and Northern Ireland, as the benefits of mutual reinforcement of the single electricity market would be delayed. In the context of Northern Ireland's security of electricity supply challenges post-2020, it is vital in terms of maintaining solid North-South relations in the area of energy that Ireland provides certainty in relation to developing the North-South Interconnector. I must stress here in the House the crucial need to continue Ireland's close relationship in the energy sector with both Northern Ireland and the UK in the context of Brexit. As a nation, we are facing the most significant economic and social challenge of the last 50 years, and energy is one of the critical sectors that must be protected in our Brexit negotiations. In 2015, Ireland had an energy import dependency of 88%, and the United Kingdom is the source of much of this energy. 97% of natural gas used in Ireland in 2015 was imported from the UK. Maintaining secure trade in energy with the United Kingdom and the continued effective functioning of the single electricity market are key Brexit priorities for Ireland. I remind the House of the UK's government's continued support for the single electricity market, as set out in the UK White Paper on exiting the EU, and the letter of the 14th of October last by Prime Minister Theresa May to the First and Deputy First Ministers of Northern Ireland. Given the importance placed on the single electricity market and the key role of the North-South Interconnector in this market, the uncertainty created by accepting the proposed Fianna Fáil motion would be of significant concern. The bilateral relationship that we have with the UK in energy cannot be viewed in isolation. It is a matter for all of us here to consider the implications of any potential impacts a change in our energy relationship, perceived or otherwise, could have on other sectors. It is critical in the context of Brexit that we maintain a close and positive relationship with the UK across all sectors. In a wider European context, the North-South Interconnector was designed as a project of common interest by the European Commission, designated as a project of common interest by the European Commission in October of 2013 and again in November 2015. Projects of common interest are energy projects deemed by the European Commission to be of strategic cross-border importance. Any development of national infrastructure must strike a balance between the overall benefits of the project and the local impact on people, landscape, tourism, farming and homes. I am well aware of the concerns that have been raised by the communities across Cavan, Meath and Monaghan about the proposals for the North-South Interconnector. I am aware that there is a long-held and passionately argued belief from some within local communities along the route of the interconnector that the transmission lines should be laid underground rather than built overhead. However, all evidence available to me through my Chief Technical Advisor indicates that this would cost substantially more and deliver less. In short, the interconnector is proposed as a high-voltage alternating current overline because various studies, many of them independent, deem it to be both the overall best technical solution as well as the most cost-effective option for this project. This proposal is fully in keeping with EirGrid's statutory obligation to develop a fit-for-purpose electricity transmission system as cost-effectively as possible. The studies include the International Expert Commission report of 2012, which found the construction of an underground option to be approximately 3 times the cost of an overhead option. The July 2014 statement of the independent expert panel, chaired by Mrs Justice Catherine McGuinness, which found that in all material respects the methodologies employed on the North South Interconnector were compatible with the methodologies of other grid development projects, such as GridLink and the Grid West projects. From a technical perspective, it should be pointed out that the direct current lines would need to be used if lines were to be laid underground over this distance, and these do not efficiently integrate the electricity systems of Ireland and Northern Ireland into a single meshed grid system. This is a key technical disadvantage that an underground option would have when compared to the proposed overhead project. All studies and information pertaining to undergrounding were available to An Bord Pleanála as part of its recent planning process. In the oral hearing, the Inspector heard evidence both in favour of and against the overground and underground solutions. The Inspector examined those issues thoroughly and concluded that a high-voltage, alternating current overhead line is the best technical and economic solution for the North-South Interconnector to achieve national energy objectives. I would stress, therefore, that the statutorily independent planning process has determined that the proposed North-South Interconnector should be developed, and I fully accept the outcome of the planning process. Of course, I also understand the concerns of the communities in Cavan, Meath and Monaghan in relation to the project. And I met with the groups last week, and I listened to the groups last week. In fact, I believe I am the first Minister for Energy since Eamon Ryan to actually meet with the groups and to actually hear what they said. And I listened intently to the submission that they made to me. And I did give a commitment, based on that, to have further engagement with my officials and my Chief Technical Advisor in relation to the issues that they had raised. But for this reason, the Government doesn't support the motion, and the reason that we don't support the motion as proposed is due to the uncertainty it would create in relation to our energy relationship with Northern Ireland and with the United Kingdom as a whole. To do so would put our country at a distinct disadvantage in our Brexit negotiations and would only serve to jeopardise investment, impacting on jobs, economic survival and our credibility. The proper functioning of our economy and society is reliant on energy, and it is therefore imperative for me as Energy Minister to ensure the continued secure trade in energy between the United Kingdom and other EU countries. An issue that has been raised by the community representative groups and others is the need to carry out a further independent analysis of international developments in relation to the relative cost differences, technologies and engineering solutions of overhead and underground technologies. This is what is proposed by the amendment, and I have proposed, and it seeks to do it in that amendment. And it does so without introducing undue uncertainty to our energy relationship on an all-island basis and with the United Kingdom. I would therefore urge the deputies to support the proposed amendment, which I believe is both fair and balanced. Thank you.
Thank you. The next is Sinn Féin slot, 15 minutes.